This did not bother the boys at first. It's hard to find dependable radio stations out in the boonies, and the radio, though brand new, had its kinks. If they turned the contraption back on, one of which looked more like a suitcase than a radio, both listened with headphones as they talked. Then the huge makeshift radio cut off once again. Then it cut back on, all by itself. That is when things got very, very weird. Instead of the iconic folkloric sounds of Cajun life flowing all around, the boys heard all kinds of static. This is when they heard the first disembodied voice. The sound was so creepy and sent shivers up the brother's spine. Soon after hearing more disembodied voices, some female and children, the air in the southern night suddenly got electric. Ben and Slick knew something was about to happen, and happen it did. As the men looked over the hide map in the present moment, Slick's eyes get about as big as sock saucers as he looked down to his brother's chest. Benjamin's gree-grees starting its legendary glow. Something supernatural must be nearby, or could be the man's recollections of the night that would be the first of many. That night, sitting in their Packard, both frozen still with fright, the brothers watched in horrified amazement as hundreds of ghostly apparitions passed by the car. It was a whole army of ghosts in all shapes and formulas. However that human met his or her end, that is what the boys saw that night. From long dead natives with dark holes for eyes and mouths to lynched and brutalized slaves, many so brutalized you could still see the brutality on their bodies. The sight was a memory nobody could ever forget. As the ghostly parade continued, suddenly the Packard started to shake, silently at first, till Ben and Slick were in a car that was literally rocking back and forth. That is when they saw the first of several demons. Ghastly creatures in all black mist, swarming all around as if black wasps. Several flowed so close to the car window, Ben and Slick knew the glass was going to break. Then it was over just as suddenly as it had began. The night was silent, except for the hard smells of sweat and blood from long dead, overworked slaves. Slick, that was creepy as hell, Slick whispers. No sulfur from hell. I've smelt that. We've both smelt that. We've seen these damn things. That wasn't no sulfur, no, not at all. Just the smell of blood, fear, tears. Still feeling the glowing gree-gree around his neck, Ben has an idea. Digging in the front pocket of his pants, out comes 3 stones given to him by Yates. Moving quickly to the opposite end of the table as Slick looks on curiously, the Creole places one of the 3 sacred stones along what is thought to be a spiritual ley line, one of several running from and through several southern states. As Slick smirks, Ben puts the last stone right next to Ohm. Both men look on to each other, then back to the stones. The evidence they see is as plain as a home-cooked meal in a hot kitchen. All the ley lines end at the tip of Mississippi, several of which crisscross in this county seat of Ohm. This can mean only one thing. This particular place in the Deep South is a hotbed of spiritual activity, a grounding vortex and doorway to all that has ailed the southern states, a gateway to all kinds of hells and dark dimensions. Thinking back to what has been told, as thought formulates in the Creole's mind like a well-oiled machine, Benjamin arrives to the head of the dining room table, right at the tail end of the buffalo map, nearest to the first spirit stone. Slick grins a few feet away. He knows that his brother's about to do it. Kelly, Sally, take the babies in the other room, he calls out. Right as he does, the women rise quickly as each look to the men. Oh, Lord, they're about to do that damn freaky thing with that dang gree-gree, Sally asks. Sally tells Kelly as she grabs Darnell and Parnell. Hun, in the next room, before these knuckleheads make us disappear or something, right before Kelly leaves, Ben looks in her direction with the oddest smile. Kelly, do me a favor. Call that powerful African guardian of yours. We need all the mojo we can get. No heed. You fellas really, you, no need. You fellas ready to work this hide? Ben hears from behind. The handsome hustler is startled somewhat at something awful as he spins around with bald fist so fast it almost hit Ludwig before the guard can disappear. The ancient guardian grins, reappearing in the air like a wind. Good reflexes, Benjamin. The Creole growls as he looks to the hide, glaring back at the black celestial. Creep up on me one more time. I'ma fucking cut your smug face off your face. Legba grins as he looks at the map, growing close to the ancient hide as he looks over with great interest. Touching the old skin, knowing its full meaning to humanity, the old god scoffs, peering up at the Creole. I'd like to see that, old boy. Mind your manners. I can see, too, that you never existed. As the words leave his mouth, running his fingers along a ley line burned into the old skin, the immortal suddenly feels the most curious heat in the same finger. Legba looks up as Ben's eyes glow like the strangest fire in his skull, shining bright and menacing. The old god grins as he looks back down to the map. He simply dismisses Ben's attempt at mentally setting his hand on fire, like an adult pitting away a toddler's toy. I see you've been practicing. He smiles up at the glaring Creole. Enough to whip your ass. I'm a god too, you mean right, goddamn. The Creole hisses right as Slick gently grabs at his brother's shoulder. Legba looks up, straightening his back as he adjusts his eternal white three-piece suit. The ancient one has a point to make, one he hopes to never have to make again. All right here, young man. Let me get something straight with you, he starts. I am a god. You are a demigod. As far as I'm concerned, the both of you are little boys playing marbles, so continue with your marble game, little boy. But I must warn you, stay out of adult affairs. The god sneers, looking back down to the map. Benjamin's not having none of it, feeling his blood boil. The young father has every right to be angry, along with being cramped in the small midwife's house meant for basically barely two people. The old god has taken every opportunity to belittle the Creole. First with his lack of parenting skills, then with issuing forth a resolution to sally if Ben stays away too long on blood business. Along with other trivial pit-downs and soul-grinding condescending moments, the immortal has even taken to renaming the twins, instead calling them two African names no one can really pronounce, let alone spell. This moment has been coming, and it's time to bite the bull. Let's take this outside, motherfucker. Ben growls as Slick grows close. Ain't no need, man. He ain't fucking worth it. The Cajun sneers over to Legba. As the women watch curiously through a cracked door, Legba does something he has never done in all the time Kelly has known him. The immortal takes off his white suit jacket. Underneath the shimmering white jacket is a skin so dark and smooth it looks almost edible. Muscular and profoundly beautiful, Legba flexes his bare chest, fist bold with mocking eyes raging. It's about damn time, human. Let me introduce you to who your real daddy is, he sneers, since your human one didn't bother to stick around long enough. With that, the guard turns around, walking out the small house. Everyone is silent. Sally is surely worried, almost in tears as Kelly looks on with a cunning glance. Opening the door, the socialite slightly gives Ben and Slick the go-ahead. This is all the boys needed, both out the house in the night air faster than robins out of hell. Bare-chested and feeling ready for blood, coffee and cream, skin arrives out into the night that seems daring and brilliant. Slick ties his blonde hair back, Benjamin getting in fighting stance. Legba is all smiles. Gently, as if conducting an elegant orchestra in the dark night air, the god gestures to the great wind gods, those almost as old as he. As long, thin fingers slowly dance in the starry sky, Augustus felt as his ancient palms rise high in the sky. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a huge gust blows all around the Blood Brothers, blowing so hard that they're almost knocked on their butts. Standing against the mystical winds of change, Slick's eyes strain against the gust as he glances to his brother. They've been preparing for this moment for days. A lesson is about to be taught. Two half-gods are going to become legendary, even amongst the real world of the unseen ones. Looking to the night sky as if birthed from the stars themselves, Benjamin's eyes glimmer a light that seems to emanate from a place not of himself. As his eyes gleam bright, the demigod looks to his kid brother, watching as Slick does the same. The two men, bodies bellowing with fire and eternity, with clenched fists by their side, ready to take the universe on. Both look like warriors of ages past, ready to do battle. Legba grins a few feet away, right as a tempest seems to howl around like a tame, angry, unseen wolf. Legions of wind spirits at his command, ageless wisdom now used as a weapon. Raising his hand to the night sky, pointing to the dark heavens with the authority only he has, the African god points to Benjamin. Instantly, the Creole is thrown several feet high in the air, landing on the swampy ground with a wet thud. Instantly, seeing his brother in such a state, Slick quickly rises to his left foot. He's gone into the thin air, appearing right in front of Legba just that quick. Suddenly, as if a rag doll, Legba motions with both of his arms before Slick can even punch him, ripping the hustler from the ground so fast it's a blur. Slick lands yards away next to his brother. Side by side but not defeated, both look to each other as their hearts beat as one, a triumphant thunder in broad muscled chest, warriors ready to kill or be killed. Looking to his kin, Slick silently winks as the wind around them howls even louder, then knows his cue. Together, both brothers raise their left hands to the night sky as two palms outreach to the dark goddess of the night, each gleaming with the most subtle of light. The wind stops instantly. Legba looks around with a befuddled blank stare. The god then smiles with a cunning the men cannot possibly know. The black ancient, older than even some of the celestials that created the world, slowly raises his right hand, blowing on it as if blowing a feather into the wind. With a gust that surrounds them both, the men suddenly feel a presence around them, as if being watched by eyes that cannot be seen. Benjamin smiles. He is cunning as well. Opening his full lips, the Creole speaks a language long dead to mortals, shocking even Slick, because he has heard it before. Suddenly, both men feel a gust of air. The ominous presences are gone, just as mysteriously as they came. Damn dark celestials, Ben sneers as he looks to his brother. They would have torn us apart if you didn't know that mojo tongue. Slick says. A few feet away, Legba claps. He is truly impressed. I say, my dear Benjamin, the tongue of the gods. Just who taught you that? He laughs. Benjamin rides up on his knees, rising to his feet as he helps his brother up. Never mind you that motherfucker. You gonna be from here before I decide to banish your sneaky ass. As you can see, I got down power like you do too. Legba does not take the hint, walking over as cocky as he always has been. When he is near enough, like an unseen wind, faster than any eye can blink, Slick has the god in his powerful grip with a straight blade to his neck. We should bleed him damn good and sticky. The blonde ruffian growls as Legba grins mischievously under the powerful man's grip. Benjamin's glad for the attempt, but dead plans his brother's request. Slick, baby boy, he's a god. He can't be killed. Right as the words were said, suddenly, somehow, Slick is standing right by his brother, as if he'd never have moved in the first place. Even sweet petunias in her sock holster, as if the legendary straight blade had never been pulled out. The men clearly remember all that happened, now standing in the present time as if it had not. Both look curiously to each other as Legba walks closer, with a sly grin, a walk that he had just made before, or did he not make that walk? Checkmate, the ancient chuckles. Yes, I am surely more powerful than both of you. Suddenly, the divine being is gone. Nothing, as if he was never there. It's called time bending. All the old gods can do it. Legba uses it to do it. Used to do it for me all the time when I wanted more time to play outside. The boys hear. Kelly walks up with a soft smile on her face. You and Slick, my sexy husband and my beautiful brother-in-law. You boys learn so fast. The socialite chirps, kissing Slick in a way he has missed for a long time. She looks to Ben. Sally's inside. I told her not to worry. Legman knows I love you boys more than air and money, and that's a lot. And I wouldn't want him to hurt out one hair on your pretty heads. Kissing Benjamin on the cheek, Kelly watches her brother-in-law walk back into the house, but not before giving him a warning. Ben, Legber's a god, a full-fledged god. What he did tonight was play with you two. You don't want to see when he gets serious. I know he can get arrogant. Just learn what he has to teach, and please mind yourself, the young woman warns. You must understand, Ben. She looks to Slick, and you too. He can take you out of this world with just a snap of his finger. I love you too much for that, she calls to Ben. Ben nods softly a few feet away, and he understands. Walking inside the midwife's home, the Creole waves before the screen door closes, on inside to those that need him most. Left to their own devices, Kelly starts to walk off, right as Slick grabs her by the arm. For a second, the young flapper wants to yank away. She has other business to take care of, mainly 2 hungry babies and her own son. Turning to say something acidic and cruel, as if the last 3 days, Kelly is struck silly by what she sees. Looking every bit the daring man he is. As a soft breeze catches his yellow hair, Slick looks like an angel that God let go of reluctantly. As the handsome thug looks into his wife's eyes intently, deeper than any time the woman can remember, Kelly swept into a notion she has long forgotten. How much she loves Slick and why. And through it all, they are the happiest couple they know. I miss you, the sexy love-lost hunk says. The words are meaningful, ringing true in a chasm of hopeful souls and lofty dreams. Kelly turns away quickly as if hiding the resonance that is her husband's gentle love. Where did we go wrong? The socialite yanks her arm away, strutting about 2 feet. She then turns with round accusations of loud venom. Here's where we went wrong, Kelly mocks. Oh, and let me start. Sheila, Hillary, Bethany. Oh, and let us not forget that harlot last year, the one that spat in my face at the Rose Lady luncheon. Where did we go wrong? Sounds like that's a conversation you should be having with your damn cock. With the accusations, the flapper bounds to the house. Divorce has never felt so right in that moment. John, David, Toby. What about the damn south of the border motherfucker? Oh yeah, Diego, Slick says. If you want to, I can go on if you won't. Kelly spins around in the names of her many lovers, too many to count. What she sees nearly takes her breath away. Slick has tears in his eyes, clearly seen as if shining diamonds falling down cheeks of rosy red. The flapper hangs her head low. She never even meant to have this conversation. I know why you want to leave me. You can take your shit and go home, Slick says, wiping the last tear he will ever cry for Kelly. Just don't keep me from my babies. Little Slick is mine too. But you can do what you gotta do. You can do what you feel you need to do. But don't keep me from me and mine. Be happy, Kelly. That's what I want you to be. With that, the young hustler walks by briskly, nearly knocking Kelly down into the swampy, wet ground. Arriving at the midwife's front door, the ruffian almost crosses the threshold into a new life until he hears one statement. The detective is putting 1 and 1 and 2 together. Slick hears as he opens the screen door. They may make me ride lightning if they catch me, Kelly cries out. The Cajun turns with a worried look in his brow. He knows of Detective Swan as well as the cops' bulldog tenacity concerning Kelly and her last husbands. But you didn't kill those men. Benjamin and I, well, hell, we did our own hunting for the truth. We didn't find anything. They can't blame you for something you didn't do. It doesn't matter. That damn detective is getting closer and closer, Kelly says as tears fall. Why don't you just call him? You had the truth wrapped up in paper. You have everything that he needs to know. You have all those papers. You can hire the best lawyers. Kelly, you are richer than God. Kelly laughs at the suggestion, and she looks up into the night sky. Slick, he thinks I killed 5 men and 3 women. He's not going to listen. Quickly, with a scarf that was spurring the devil, the young flapper turns, heading to the house as she wipes the last of her tears. Oh, God, why am I explaining this to you? Oh, my dumb white trash, she mutters. Slick is about a yard, but because of his supernatural gift, he hears all, including the mother of all insults, coming from his wife's lip of all people. Fast in her thought, the blonde ruffian appears in front of Kelly with a gruff that can make a rabid dog tame. What the hell did you just say now? Kelly Slick's match in demeanor and manner. Kelly huffs up her chest. I said dumb white trash, she hisses. Quicker than the woman can protest, her hulking husband swings her over his shoulders, off to the packet for some much-needed private time. Stomping through wet mud as Kelly pounds his back to pin her down, Slick opens the back door of his luxury sedan and throws her inside. Arriving inside as he slams the car door, all is silent except for hard breathing and anticipation. You gonna start respecting me, woman, the killer snarls. Kelly's not pleased. She lunges for the murderous hunk right as he catches her arms easily, throwing her back. So now you're gonna show your true self? You're gonna beat me like your papa did your mama, huh? Slick's face is a mask of contempt, yet he loves Kelly even more in this heated moment. Why you hate me so much? I've been damn good to you. Kelly rises on her knees as she glares over. Yeah, you have. You're after my money, that's all you want, you two-bit hustler, she hisses. She yells. She slaps Slick squarely in the face. Slick is shocked at the statement. Another low blow. With eyes about as hard and heavy with rage as they can get, the blonde ruffian starts to unzip his pants, starts unbuttoning his pants. Take your fucking clothes off. Take your clothes off now, he snarls, fumbling at his shirt button. Kelly stares back with defiance. You're not touching me. Just the sight of you makes me sick, she snaps back. Slick smiles at the harsh comment. Take your clothes off or I'ma rip them off your uppity ass. It's your fucking choice. Do it and I'll make sure you're arrested for rape. You ignorant ingrate, the woman snarls. Moving closer to his wife faster than she can see, Kelly feels her blouse ripped from her body, then her skirt moving around her thighs. The young woman is then knocked back by unseen quick hands till she is on her back in only a slip-in bra. As the flapper breathes heavily, about to cry once again, Slick appears before her eyes with a small gust of air. Take off your bra, he orders. No. Okay. The young Adonis continues undressing. His dungarees are pulled down muscular, nearly hairless thighs. A dress shirt falls from a white t-shirt, clearly filled out with prime flexing muscles and angst. The hunk then pulls down his boxers, kicking them inside. Now paying Kelly no attention at all, Slick then takes off his t-shirt and sock garters, laying his blade holster to the side away with his socks and caked muddy shoes. As naked as he came into the world, Slick's body is much more amazing than Kelly remembers. Raging in between the lounging hunk's thick thighs is 29 years of experience in sheer female insanity. Closing his eyes as if Kelly's not even there, the uninhibited Cajun starts to rub one out for relief, thinking about better times as he smells Kelly's faint perfume. Kelly sneers as she watches her husband masturbate. You're humiliating yourself. The hustler opens up his eyes to a scornful glare. Then help me out, he grins. You're a fool, Kelly scoffs. Feeling his blood boil once again, the hustler rises on his knees. If Kelly was a man, she'd have been beat to a pulp right about now. We got a damn family. That kid in that house, that's our fucking son. We have a damn arrangement. You hoe around, I hoe around. This is the nature of what we fucking do, Slick snarls. But I can see it in your eyes, Kelly. I can see it for sure. You done fallen in love with one of them men folks, ain't you? You done gave up our family. It's something you promised you would never do. And for the damn record, I got damn money. I'm richer than you are. I'm just as rich as you. I don't need a damn Indian nickel from your ass. You got that straight. Kelly has nothing to say. She has fallen in love with one of her many playthings. And it happened all of a sudden. Julian is a type of man a woman asks God for if she is one of two things: too young to know any better, or living a life of delusions and fairy tales. In a world full of men that are wolves and dogs, that tall, handsome lawyers, all kinds of wonderful, he might as well be a unicorn. Born into a good family, Julian is old money, north and south of the Mason-Dixon line money. Tall as a tree, the sexy lawyer is mannerable, cultured, and an all-around worldly man. Not like Slick, who thinks belching the star-spangled banner is an accomplishment that should allow him the key to the city. A few weeks ago, Kelly was invited to the Sugar Cookie Review, a segregated venue where children of all colors and financial backgrounds can put on plays and dances. It's a wonderful way for like-minded adults to meet other caring liberals like themselves, as well as make a few, if not many, business connections that often cross-pollinate into all kinds of opportunities. Kelly is looking to start a bakery, one that hires blacks as well as whites. It will be a first of its kind. Hilda, her cook, is getting long in the tooth, and the cook is thinking about retiring and moving down to Florida. The bakery is Kelly's way of keeping her adopted mother close and comfortable, especially since the infant twins in the world, of which Hilda have already agreed to stay and help take care of. Looking to network, already imagining the business being a franchise, one of the first black chains, Kelly stumbled upon Julian, literally. While gossiping with Miss Gladys Jones, the flapper was not watching where she was going and bumped right into the young man, spilling red wine all over his white Brooks Brothers slacks. Ushered off to the bathroom by a few marriage-minded women, Julian was accosted with seltzer water, baking soda, as well as tons of giggles and batting eyelashes, all as Kelly watched with great amusement. As the strapping man took off his trousers, two of the women gasped, then let out nervous chuckles, which Julian took as his cue to cover up with a nearby waiter apron handed to him. For Kelly, the sight was amusing indeed. Not one to judge men on their gift or lack thereof, being that such is south of the border of gentility and polite conversation, the young flapper could not help but notice that Julian was a big boy in every sense of the word, and then some to spare. Kelly was not always a size queen. Her last few husbands was fine in the male specimen department, but when Slick arrived in her life, along with his healthy excuse for a third leg, the socialite has become somewhat of a connoisseur of men, especially what so many of them hold near and dear to their hearts and egos. The day was pleasant enough. Kelly had made the rounds, and Julian was a blip on her radar, if that at least, until he reintroduced himself. Watching a wonderful rendition of Romeo and Juliet with a little black girl playing the ill-fated lover superbly along with her white toe-headed Romeo, Kellyanne was fit to be tied with giggles and joy. She was amongst her tribe, in a world of freedom and acceptance for everyone, even if that world was a small mansion on the outskirts of Columbia, South Carolina in 1925. Happy as she could be, congratulating just about everybody, Kelly bumped into Julian, this time without a spill. The two have not been separate since. Julian is skilled at conversation, polite in a way that would make any girl blush, and with manners that could earn his mother some kind of lifetime award. The hunk has marriage material stamped on his forehead, as well as fuck of the century on his tight ass. Kelly is smitten. She even introduced Slick Jr. to the man, of which the young boy hates, even throwing 10 soldiers at Julian one day. None of it matters, though. And when it comes to sex, which is just about every 2 weeks, Kelly's assumptions of the handsome lawyer were not only spot on, they were accurate to every well-timed orgasm she had that night. I don't love you anymore, Kelly blurts out, watching Slick pleasure himself in the back of the Packard. And usually such words would crush the loving killer's heart to smithereens, words he has been dreading to hear, all but for one fact. The man Kelly is in love with is dead. Slick slit Julian's throat last week, just as he promised his wife he would do some years ago. Knowing the dark deed he's done, the blonde killer opens up his meaty thighs even more as he watches Kelly's eyes get heavy with need. I know, Kelly. I love you with all I got. You tolerate me with all I ain't. Same difference. But you will give me that pussy. It's your duty as my woman and the mother of my baby boy. Kelly folds her arms in slight protest, watching it as her husband strokes at what has been a sheer fascination for her for over 10 years. The flapper, as angry as she is, has to admit it. Slick has a body that does not quit and a libido that would not even know how. Built with muscle and sheer audacity, the lounged out on plush leather seats, the nearly hairless sex god is a sight for any woman who likes a man with a healthy dose of danger and a side order of dark insanity. Watching his woman's eyes grow heavy, Slick strokes his thick, uncut nines slowly as wet honeydew collects at the thick tip. The lusty scoundrel smiles as Kelly licks her lips. He's gotten her right where he wants her. With both feet resting on the back leather seats, their thighs wide with a sexy grin, Slick places his hands behind his head. You ready? Do with me what you want. Watching two low hangers rest past fat, plump male cleavage, Kelly scrunches her nose playfully. You haven't even had a proper bath. Aren't you even clean? Dirty bastard. Slick smiles as he relaxes more. I wash up the same as you. You know, those wash tubs they got up in there. Come here, give me some loving. Kelly shakes her head at her husband's blunt request, thinking of how Julian would have never said such a thing. Can you reword that? At least be polite, she mocks. If you can, or wait, you can't. Oh my God, you have the vocabulary of a drunk sailor and the scruples of barnacles on the bottom of a damn ship. I don't know why I ever put up with you for so damn long. Slick chuckles as he lifts his heavy ball sack, holding his warm, heavy handful. Can you please come here and make me happy, ma'am? Kelly does not move. The husband and wife team, one that has been an example for many progressive 1920s couples in the Deep South, is really, truly in serious trouble. I think you're disgusting, Kelly snorts. Slick says nothing as he continues to pleasure himself. He knows his wife's love is gone. Seeing the cold and distant look in her eyes, the hustler rises. He has been taking it all as a joke, and Kelly always gets over herself. But not this time. Sitting only inches away, the man and woman might as well be miles apart. Looking over as Kelly's eyes look into a moonless sky, the romantic ruffian's eyes brighten with possibility. Reaching down, Slick puts on his boxers, then his shoes. Walking outside, the hustler has an idea. Looking through the darkness, lit only by the indoor lighting of the shack in the back, Slick finds what he needs. He takes a fresh sprig. Arriving in the midwife's home as everyone looks on and rather surprised, laughing at the sight of Slick's half-nakedness, the hunky thug grabs a glass mason jar, filling it with water. As he winks to his brother, holding one of his sons, the other baby in chuckling Sally's embrace, the assistant looks to her man. Ben, is he? She snickers. Ben looks over with a knowing smile. Those two gonna work it out. I swear to God they is. I arrive back at the car, closing the door as he sits. Slick presents his wife with a sprig of dandelions and a mason jar filled with water to put them in. The act is sweet, but far from what the flapper wants. Slick sees this, arriving back in the dark, wet dankness, this time with the kerosene lantern grabbed from the front porch. He sees what he needs. Grabbing it, the love-struck killer walks away, seeing something else, grabbing that as well. Finally arriving back at the Packard, having washed off his gifts in the midwife's shack, Slick presents his gifts with nature, like the most precious things in the world. The first is a seashell. Now look at here. When I met you, I was lost, the humble young man starts. I was in an ocean of hurt, and you took that sea of pain and you made it better. The second is a horseshoe. Slick places the rusty artifact between himself and his wife. You bring me luck. You make me feel like the luckiest man in the world. The third gift is something Slick cannot give, but instead he motions to the stars in the night sky. Before you, the night was the night, and the day was the day, and I ain't see no beauty in nothing. Now, all them stars, I see them, and I see all their prettiness. They're so beautiful to me now. I give them to you, Kelly. Baby, in you I see creation. I see God, the loving man says softly. Kelly is dumbstruck. Never in her life with Slick has he ever made a gesture so thoughtful, yet so simple. Expensive gifts can be bought, but for a very rich woman like Kelly, gifts from the soul, this is what moves her heart. The only thing to do is shed tears, tears that somehow seem right, perfect for that moment, tears that seem to have their own understanding of their own creation. Kelly cries softly as she looks into eyes she has given up on. She sees a tenderness in her murdering husband that she has never seen before. Slick almost feels like a new man, a new version of himself, an angel in the cloth of a demon, but an angel nonetheless. Wiping her eyes, the young socialite watches as Slick looks down to his mud-caked shoes. His shoulders, once proud and strong with pride just moments ago, they sulk forward, almost making him smaller, even weak. I love you, can be heard in the car. Slick looks over, his eyes heavy with worry. Kelly is truly the love of his life. After her, there will be no one else. He watches as his wife smiles weakly. I do love you, Kelly says softly, reaching for her husband's rosy cheeks, touching each gently. Instantly happy for it all, Slick quickly flips off his dirt-caked shoes and boxers, splaying open his huge pale thighs open with a boyish grin. There is no pretense behind the unconventional lover's efforts. Though Slick would give his life for his wife and child without a mere second thought, Slick will always be who he is. Loving and lovable, kind and caring, the kind of man that would die for a stranger in need. The killer with the legendary blonde hair is who he is, and nothing can change that. The man before Kellyanne, one of the richest women in 1925, now playing with his perfect penis, playing with the perfect penis that God has ever created, is always and will be a murdering lowlife with a heart of gold and a soul most warrior archangels would envy. Love me? Then suck my dick, Slick acts bluntly. Kelly cannot do anything but grin. This ruffian, the same that showed up to his own wedding as drunk as a skunk, then had a fight with the priest, the same man that crashed into his own wedding cake that day, then went about eating huge chunks of it off the floor along with his chuckling black brother. This is the love of Kelly's life. It is this strange creature, half feral, half human, beautifully created and wonderfully charming. This is the stuff of Henry Augustus, also known as Slick Skateblade. Arriving to her knees, worshipping her moody, blonde god once again, Kelly looks over into blue eyes that will always love her no matter what. Those that will never, ever judge her, only because they cannot. They love her too much. Opening wide as she makes a wet swallow, Wet, shallow swallow. Kelly looks up, watching as those same eyes cross in ecstasy, closing, finally released into a world only she can create for her man, one of pure love. Pushing Slick Black back as his strong hips buck up involuntarily. It has been a while. The skilled flapper rises off her knees as her long arms and hands create a cradle of sort around her husband's thighs. Bobbing her head up and down, quickly past skill and well into audacity, Kelly swallows more and more, feeling her throat strain as Slick's thickness glides deep.